Hello, this is Bill Hines with Emancipari. We're a financial planning and investment advisory service out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we are advice only, flat fee only, fiduciary. So we check all those altruistic boxes. So we do a lot of retirement planning, a lot of fire planning for people, financial independence, retire early. And I like to use Pralana Retirement Calculator, which you see here on the screen. And I wanted to provide a series of videos to go over kind of the best usages, tips, and tricks to using Prolana because it's easy to make mistakes. And you're using this tool to make important decisions in your life, right? To figure out your financial life going forward, how to meet your goals, including retirement, but other goals. So it's important to not make mistakes and be able to trust the projection. It's an excellent tool. It's better than most of the professional tools that we get to use as advisors and planners. And it's really inexpensive, which is a huge boost. Currently running under Excel, but we're all looking forward to the web-based version that should come out in 2024. So I wanted to kick out this first video just to discuss the initial setup in Prolana because that can be a pretty frustrating experience for people, especially given that it's a fantastic tool, but it's got to run within the confines of Microsoft Excel, which of course it's really stretching the limits of, right? This is a spreadsheet on steroids. So again, the web version will break us free of those boundaries. So what do we have here is I've loaded up Excel. I'm running on a pretty old and slow laptop with an old version of Excel. I believe this is Excel for Windows 2010, right? So 13 years old. And I've downloaded my Pralana file, which you get when you purchase the Pralana Retirement Calculator on their website. You'll get an Excel spreadsheet that you download to your local computer file system. You go into Excel, you do file open, and then you choose the file. So I've already done that part, right? Most people are pretty familiar with that whole process of opening a file. So what you see next is really important here. First, you see the file I'm using. The Prolana file is PRC 2023. That's the year, version 2.9.2, right at the top of the Excel banner up there, okay? You'll see PRC 2023 Goal 2.9 here in the header bar. And then you see this important security warning from Excel. And essentially what this is saying is that Excel is realizing that this file you're opening came from the internet. It didn't get created locally by you. So it's warning you, hey, this could be malicious. And that's a very good thing that they're warning you. Now, you should always take precautions in this day and age, do plenty of backups of your computer and so forth. But Excel is telling you because this file has been uploaded from the internet, they're starting out with macros, which is programming code being disabled. And it wants your permission to enable those macros. So you click enable content. Okay. And while we're waiting for that to happen, there we go. I want to remind you that this front page is something that most people typically skip, right? The required reading, the license agreement, blah, blah, blah. We usually skip that stuff. But in this case, it's really important if you're a first time user, especially to read through this because there are a lot of tips in here about how to make this initial process much easier. For one, the Prolana user manual, right? We're really lucky because most software doesn't even include a user manual anymore. Prolana has one and it's actually really well written. It is a great resource. So grab that user manual PDF. I print it out. I take it to Staples, let them print it on the cheap. And I keep the PDF right on my desktop so I can refer to it constantly. It's amazing. And then you see below that, there's guidance on enabling macros, which is actually what we just did, right? So it's telling you about all this stuff you have to do. If you have trouble with that, there's two actual workarounds, right? If Prolana Excel still doesn't want to cooperate with loading your Prolana file and turn everything on that needs to be on to work, you can locate the Prolana Excel file from wherever you downloaded it to on your local file system and right-click it and go to Properties and then check the little button that says Unblock and then reload it into Excel and everything should go fine. Also, you can go into your Excel menu and go to the Excel options, trust center, and then trust center settings, and then macro settings, and select the disable VBA macros with notification option. And that should allow things to go more smoothly from there. Do a file, open, and reload your Pralana file. Okay, getting updates, this is important. Pralana is like any software. There are always bug fixes. There are always enhancements. The Pralana team are really upfront about notifying you about this stuff. So check back on the Pralana homepage often. Right up in the upper right corner, there's a little thing that says gold updates. Check that, click on that all the time and see if there's changes or bug fixes or what have you, right? That's really important as well, especially early in the release cycle. So the new version usually comes out around the middle of January each year, all through February, March. You might see small bug fixes and updates. So check that. Um, Moving your Pralana file to different computers, there's some guidance here on that. And again, you see as we scroll down through this first page, there's lots of guidance on how to move the file around, share it if you need to, between different computers you might own, home laptop, work laptop, that sort of thing. Guidance about entering data. Don't hit the space bar to blank something out. You want to hit the delete key usually, or put a 0 if it's a numeric field. Putting spaces in a numeric field will cause problems, so it's not a good practice. Um, okay, and there's some operation timing information here about how long it might take, depending on how old your computer is and that sort of thing. Okay, at the bottom, there's the license agreement, right? You can read through that if you want to. But the key thing is there's a little checkbox here that says, I acknowledge that I have read this page. So you need to click that. And then you get a little pop-up that asks if you want to start simple. What this will load, if you're a first-time Pralana user or you're not really well-versed on all the nuances of retirement planning terminology, investment terminology, tax terminology, and you just want to get a good thumbnail view of whether you're okay to retire or not, you can load that simple input page. I'm a professional. I do this for a living, so I don't. Keep in mind that if you go with a simple page, your results are going to be, not precise. If you want precise, high fidelity results, you'll go to the advanced page with all the inputs. But the simple page is a good way to start to get a feel for Pralana, and then you could always go in and tack on the extra information later. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with choosing simplified upfront if you're not used to it. I'm going to say no. All right. Let me blow up my screen some here. Okay, so what we're seeing now is the very first homepage of Pralana. And I'm going to do a separate video on going through this and going through each of the different tabs for financial assets, income, expenses, analysis, tabular projections, and so forth, with a lot of best practices and things, explains what some of these fields mean in case you're not sure. But what I always do at this point in the process right away is I go up to Excel and now I save the Pralana file. I hit save. Why do I do this right now? Because when I next go into Excel and I load this version 2.9 Pralana file, I'm not going to have to go through all that again with enabling the macros and checking the box as far as whether I want to, whether I've read the initial first page and all that stuff. Okay, it saves you time. Um, Now, as you go through Pralana and you enter information, this is the initial Dick and Jane example that comes with Pralana, right? You can change that to your own names and start putting your own info in here. I recommend doing a global clear first to get all the Dick and Jane info out of there. But you can just go ahead and save under the Excel menu, hit save, 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 and then when you load the Pralana 2.9 file, your information is going to come up with it. Your personalized information is embedded in that Pralana 2.9 file. The Dick and Jane stuff is gone. I don't know that there's a way to return it other than just go back to an original version of the 2.9 before you updated it. Maybe you saved a backup or something. But for me personally, I never do that, right? Because I work with a lot of client Pralana files, I'm constantly loading different people's retirement projections. So I always keep the 2.9 base Pralana Excel file clean. I save it at this point and I never hit save again. When I do a client's projections, I'll just hit import and I'll import whatever export I saved for them last. So I'm going through maybe for Susie and Joe and doing some retirement planning for them. And then I'll hit create export file and I'll save that under their folder, Susie and Joe, Emancipari file. And then I'll come in later and I'll import that when I'm ready to work with them again. I'll import another client's file and so forth. So there's kind of two levels of files here. There's your base Pralana spreadsheet, that's the actual Pralana program. And then there are separate Excel files that you might save using exporting for different things. Even if you're always going to use it just for your own stuff, you might still use this process, because what if you want to do something for your kids and create a little file for them, right? You'd have to global clear, put all your kids' info, and then do create export file for the kids' Pralana file just to show them what's going on here or something like that. So, okay, that's my initial kind of run through about how to get Pralana up and running and get to the point where you can start entering your data. So I'm going to end this video now, and hopefully I'll get to work on the others where I start talking about how to input your data, do some retirement analysis, and work with all of the cool features in Pralana. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you want to get those updates, please click like on the video so I can get some traction on social media. And I hope you have a great day and enjoy using Pralana. This is Bill Hines with Emancipari, Emancipare. Hit us up at emancipari.com. Look at our different offerings there. We'll review your Pralana file just to do a sanity check inexpensively, make sure you didn't miss anything, give you some tips, along with some good investing and retirement type Q&A. And we hope to see you soon. Thanks. This is Bill Hines signing out. Bye-bye.